Happy New Year's Eve, everybody. Ryan in Sacktown here. Welcome to the Kings pregame show on If You Don't Like That. We get you ready tonight for the Kings and the Memphis Grizzlies. Looking forward to that. Got some breaking news, actually, that we will get to out of Memphis here in just a few minutes. Looking forward to a fun night with you. Jerry Reynolds joining the show at halftime. And then post-game, we're going to have a little bit of fun, maybe a few surprises. But first and foremost, Kings Grizzlies tonight from Memphis. We've got y'all set up here on the other side. Welcome to the pregame show on If You Don't Like That.
3, 2, 1, go.
Sacramento miscue. Carter. Stolen by Williams. And look at this. Oh, you don't like that. You don't like NBA basketball. Fox. Goodbye. Oh, if you don't like that, you don't like NBA basketball. The exclamation point from De'Aaron Fox. Oh, if you don't like that, you don't like NBA basketball.
Boy, that's an ESPN highlight right there. Whoa. Carlson comes in. How about this? Holy moly, Jim Bob Boley. That is a major league smush.
Hey, welcome into the party here on If You Don't Like That. I'm Ryan in Sacktown. Happy to have you with us. Kings Grizzlies getting ready to tip off from Memphis. Kings coming into this game looking for a win to come back home to start the new year. Memphis coming into tonight 10-21, 4-6 since the return of Ja Morant. Actually lost the last two games, though, most recently to the Clippers, 117-116. And like I said at the top, we've got some breaking news, and some of you are already all over it, but we're going to start with Sports Freak really quick, talking about the Atlanta game, and we need to have a high end or a high note to end the year on. I don't disagree with you. They do need to do something and hopefully not need the comeback tonight. That would be a big thing. But here we go. Chris Duarte has been inserted into the starting lineup at the 2 guard. So we're starting to get the comments pour in. Kevin Huerter is available. So big note there. Kevin was questionable due to that left hand injury. But he is not going to be starting. Chris Duarte gets the nod for the Kings. Let's get your guys' reaction on this. Some of you already saying, like Adam, why would it not be Monk? I think there's a lot of good reason for that. We can get into that a little bit more. We got some football reaction. I get it. Adam's going to follow up. I get Monk brings a lot off the bench, but we need a lot in our starting 5. Do we? I mean, Adam, the bar is pretty low right now, right? With Kevin Huerter. Hasn't been doing a ton, but if you're going to make the move with Kevin Huerter, I guess the first question I'm going to ask, why not Harrison Barnes? So why was the decision made? Probably my guess is more flexibility at that 2 position. But if you're Harrison Barnes, you're not feeling great either. Your leash is just as short, even though you are starting in your normal spot tonight. Harrison Barnes actually one of the longest starting streaks for the Kings. He is the longest going starter for the Kings, most consecutive starts. So I doubt it has much to do with that and everything to do with the combination of the injury. And Mike Brown looking to get a different look at the 2 guard position, different look at the starting 5 position. So, yeah, no kidding. I agree. I know we're jumping around. Duarte is deserving defensively. Well, yeah. So, and yeah, I know you're reacting, Adam, to the bar. But, yeah, the bar's low. So Duarte defensively gives you a little more. Kevin was not playing terrible defense. Let's be honest about that. I mean, if we want to point a finger here, Kevin Huerter is not necessarily the problem. So, again, breaking news, Kings, Kevin Huerter available, but not starting. Chris Duarte replacing Kevin Huerter in the starting lineup for the Kings against the Memphis Grizzlies tonight. Memphis will have Ja Morant back. He's been sitting infrequently because of his return again. Memphis 4-6 so far with Ja back in the lineup. A lot to talk about, and we're reacting to the breaking news with the change in the starting lineup. Chris Duarte getting the nod at the 2 guard over Kevin Huerter. Huerter will be coming off the bench. Really quick, Jay, we need the team from the second half of Atlanta game for 4 quarters tonight. So yeah, let's talk about that a little bit more, Jay. It's funny you bring that up because I was going to get into how the Kings match up with the Grizz, but let's talk about this. So this is the first half shot chart from the other night in Atlanta. So any of the red areas mean you are 10% more or 10% or more below the league average. So you can see the Kings 5 of 18 from beyond the arc in the first half. That was certainly where the big deficit came from offensively. But what I want to point your attention to right here is the lack of just attempts in the mid-range and in the key. So the 12 of 17, that's all fine and good at the rim. We know De'Aaron can get to the rim. We know Sabonis can finish at the rim. But look at that. You only have 4 shots combined from the key and the mid-range. So, Jay, getting to your point about the second half. Now, look at how this graph changes a little bit. The threes go back to above average. That's plus 10% or more above the league average. But the mid-range, we are red. Still just 3 attempts and 6 attempts in the key the other night. Kings continue to get to the rim, and then the corner threes, obviously an advantage for the Kings when they are shooting the 3-ball well. So I guess the question becomes, and Jay, it's the Kings have to shoot the 3-ball well in the second half. That's what it is, and that's what changed that game predominantly offensively for that team. So I want to talk more, and we'll get into it more as we go. Again, thank you for joining us here. I'm Ryan and Sacktown. This is the pregame show on If You Don't Like That, getting you ready for the Grizzlies and the Kings from Memphis, tipping off just after 5 o'clock. So we'll get into it more throughout the night, but the hole in this game for the Kings and what we need to see more of is a complete game. They don't have anything from that mid-range, and they don't have a lot in the key. That's the more concerning. I know you can say getting to the rim, that's part of the key, sure, but they're not getting some of those same shots that they were getting last year, and that points strictly right there to Harrison Barnes. Harrison Barnes would get to the free throw line at least 5 times a game last year. Not doing it so far this year, not nearly at that clip. And like I said, as the night goes on, we will get into some more of those numbers and getting to the rim and what I think kind of what the problems are going to be. What's up, Baki? Happy New Year's, bud. Big party here, 2 a.m., but Kings on TV. Dobro, Utra. Hope the party's going well, and we can't wait to have you with us all night. Enjoy. Happy New Year's, and start thinking about it's cliche. I know every talking head like myself is doing it. But let's start thinking about for the post game. What are your Kings? If you could make one New Year's resolution for this Kings team, whether it be roster based or play style, coaching, anything, we're going to get to those in the post game show. Desmond Bane, does he have a big game? Yeah, I think he could, Cody. And I'm so glad you brought him up because we were going to go there next. Desmond Bane is so important for what this Memphis team does when they're playing well with Ja Morant. And offensively, this Memphis team, not necessarily a strong suit for them. And defensively, not a strong suit either. Really in that bottom third, near the bottom of the league in points allowed per night. So it should be a perfect recipe for the Kings in a game like this, but you do have to worry about the dribble penetration tonight with Ja Morant and Desmond Bane. Bane, he can do it inside, he can do it outside, and when you have Murray the other night, not Keegan Murray for the Hawks, really get into the room whenever he wanted to, and the Kings having a trouble mitigating that. You worry about that tonight with those matchups on the perimeter. And then, you talk about Jaren Jackson Jr. You talk about a whole host of guys. Marcus Smart, that's a different type of guard that's going to be out on the perimeter guarding the Kings tonight. So we will see how all that matches up. Love your show. Thank you. Appreciate that, Walt. Happy to have you here. Let's see. We need Keegan to wake up. Yep, we go through it all the time. But let's talk a little bit more about how the Kings match up with this Memphis team tonight. Get some statistics up there for you. Let you know how the numbers go in the tail of the tape. You look at pretty much same field goal percentage-wise, about a 4 or 5 percentage difference there. Rebounding's about the same. Kings have the nod in assists, blocks, about a 2 block advantage for just over 2 for Memphis tonight, but total points per game right there for you, 117.4 on average for Sacramento, 8th in the league. Memphis, 107.2, dead last. So if we're talking about a Sacramento Kings team tonight that has 102, 103, 107, we're going to be talking about a team that's in trouble, because that's not due to defensive performance. That's due to poor shooting. So again, we'll talk a little more as the night goes along, but that's the tail of the tape for the Kings and Memphis tonight. If you are just joining us, Chris Duarte inserted into the starting lineup tonight for the Kings. He will be taking over for Kevin Huerter, who is available off the bench. The question becomes, is this a permanent move? Is this a temporary move for Mike Brown? I don't think anything's set in stone. I mean, when you have a healthy team and you are making a change, that does say something, because Mike Brown has been so consistent with his guys in terms of the starting lineup. And a lot of times, I would say 1 through 7 on this Kings team, you know who they're going to be. But after that, it's a little bit up in the air. So the fact that Kevin Huerter is a healthy pull out of the starting lineup and Chris Duarte is taking his spot does say a lot. But anything is up for change with Mike Brown as long as you give good minutes. John, what's up, man? Huerter is definitely a defensive liability. I disagree, dude. I love you, John. You know this, but he is not a liability. I wouldn't say he's any more of a liability tonight defensively against Memphis's guards in Ja Morant and also Desmond Bane. I just don't see it. Marcus Smart, throw him in there as well. He's not, John. He's not. He's not great. I mean, we're talking about Kings guys. Chris Duarte was talking about this not too long ago. He said, look, I'm not a defensive guy. Mike Brown's trying to make me a defensive guy. So it's going to be a process, and I'm paraphrasing here. So again, you're looking at it through the lenses of, these guys know how to play defense. And sure, as NBA players, you should know how to play basketball on both sides of the court, right? But Kevin Huerter is not sticking out any worse than anybody else that is in this rotation. Now, there's defensive specialists that are better defenders than Kevin Huerter, but I think he's done a good job. And remember, he's 6'6". He's fairly long. He uses his body well. So I still expect, regardless of the change, Kevin will still get decent minutes tonight. If he doesn't, and you see Davion step into that role, which you may well, and that's why a 1-game sample size is a little difficult when you get a late change like this. And let's give a tip to the hat. Could it be possible lingering injury? Mike Brown wants to have a fully healthy, because Kevin Huerter was listed on the injury report with that left hand, his offhand, his guide hand on his shot. So does it have any, who knows? We will have to see. And that's why it makes it a really tough call to see how Mike Brown's going to play, and a tough call to even talk about it after this game, whether Kevin plays a lot or he doesn't. So I'd love to get all of your guys' thoughts on this. Again, Kings-Grizzlies getting ready to tip off. Don't forget, at halftime, Jerry Reynolds right here with me. We'll be talking, having a little fun. Haven't seen Jerry in a few days, so we can't wait to have him back on the show. And then post-game, I will be taking the reins. Grant is off on this New Year's Eve. Hope all of you are having a great New Year's Eve. Hope you have a safe New Year's Eve. And hopefully we're talking about a Kings win later tonight when the ball drops in New York. So anyways, Kings-Grizzlies coming up just in a few minutes. Think of your Kings resolutions. We're going to get to those in the post-game show, whether it is a player that you want to see on this roster or if it is a change in terms of stylistic or the way the Kings approach the game. You want to see a change there, let us know. So, all right, we are going to get out of here and start getting ready for the tip-off. Kings-Grizzlies coming up from Memphis. Kings looking to head into the new year on a W and head back to Sacramento with a W in 2024. Don't forget, Jerry Reynolds right here at halftime. Can't wait to have him on breaking down the Kings-Grizzlies matchup. And we'll get more into this team. I can't wait to get into this team a lot more with you guys. And I'm going to ask you an interesting question at halftime, too, about involvement. Maybe you'll be doing the post-game show with me tonight. show up at halftime. See what I'm talking about. So, all right, Kings Grizz, looking forward to it. We will see you back at halftime. Don't forget, Jerry Reynolds right here. Appreciate you tuning into the pregame show. Go Kings. See ya at the end of the second